Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Igcse Ecology Help. In today's video, I'm going to be solving the biology paper 1. This is the core paper. This is paper 1, variant 1 from the October-November 2022 session. Let's start solving. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel and like my videos to get more videos like this one. Let's start solving. Question number 1 is saying which process provides an organism with the raw materials needed for tissue repair. This is actually the nutrition. Nutrition provides the organism with the raw materials that they need to perform respiration, which can provide them with energy. So our answer is going to be nutrition. 2, which name is given to a group of individuals that can reproduce to produce fertile offspring. This is of course a species, because this is actually the definition of species. Question number 3, an animal has 4 legs, hair, and a tail. To which group of vertebrates does it belong? Now over here they have said that they have hair, so a hair indicates automatically that it is a mammal. So our answer is going to be C. 4, root hair cells are found on plant roots. Which feature is present in a root hair cell but not in a sperm cell? Of course, we know that the sperm cell does not have a cell wall because it's an animal cell, and they are comparing a plant cell. Root hair cell is a plant cell, and the sperm cell is an animal cell that is found in our human body. So this does not have cell walls because it's an animal cell, so our answer is going to be B. 5, the diagram shows a cross-section of part of a leaf. Which type of cell carries out the most photosynthesis? Of course, we all know that this is A. This is the palisade mesophyll layer. This is the part that has the most chlorophyll over here. 6, a plant cell is viewed using a microscope with magnification of times 500. The image of the cell has width of 20 millimeters. What is the actual width of the cell? Now this question is a magnification question. So this is a magnification question, and as I have mentioned before, you have to use a formula that I have mentioned before. It is called the IAM formula. This will help you to calculate and solve any magnification question. So the I stands for image, the A stands for actual size of the image, and the M stands for magnification. So right now they have given us the magnification, which is the M, and they have also given us the image size. So we are required to calculate the actual width or the actual size of the cell. So how do we do that? How do we do this? We're going to be dividing the image size, which is in millimeters, divided by the magnification, which is 500, and you're going to be calculating this number on your calculator. It's going to give you 0.04 millimeters, so that's our answer. Number 7, particles can move into and out of the cells by diffusion. Which statement about diffusion is correct? Let's read the statements. A says particles move from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. This is incorrect because this is only an active transport. B says particles only move into cells by diffusion. Of course, this is incorrect because they can move in by osmosis as well, or active transport. C says the net movement of particles is against a concentration gradient. No, it is not. So our only answer that is left is D, which says the process involves the random movement of particles. This is correct because we know that there is random motion and random movement inside the diffusion. So the answer is D. 8, potato cylinders were put into different concentrations of sucrose solution for the same amount of time. The masses of the potato cylinders were measured before and after being immersed into the solutions. The results are recorded in the table. Which potato cylinder was put into the solution with the highest sucrose concentration? We're going to be choosing the potato which has the most decrease in the percentage change in mass. Why? This is because if we put potato in a high sucrose concentration, this will cause the water to move from high to low concentration, which is high sucrose concentration. So water will move out of the potato, causing a high percentage change in the mass of the potato itself. So we're going to be choosing B. This is because it lost the highest amount of mass, which means there was the highest amount of diffusion, which indicates that there is the highest sucrose concentration in that solution. 9. Which chemical is used to test for the presence of protein in a food sample? This is the solution. 10. Which description of an enzyme catalyzed reaction is correct? A says the substrate binds to an enzyme with the same shape and a product is formed. No, it is not the same shape, it is actually complementary. B says the product binds to an enzyme with the same shape and a substrate is formed. Of course, this is incorrect because a product is formed. The product binds to an enzyme. Of course, this is incorrect. The substrate binds, not the product. And the substrate binds to an enzyme with a complementary shape and a product is formed. This is the correct answer, so our answer is D. 11. The graph shows the effect of temperature on the activity of an enzyme. At which temperature is the enzyme most active? So right now we're going to be seeing where exactly or approximately where is the enzyme activity at its peak at around this place. So we're going to be drawing a line, just sketching a line, and it is in the middle between 30 and 40. This means that it is actually 35, so our answer is going to be C. 12. The substances listed are found in a leaf of a plant. Which substance is obtained from the soil? We all know that carbon dioxide cannot be obtained from the soil. This is obtained from the air, so this is incorrect. Chlorophyll is in the leaf itself, so this is incorrect. Glucose is made by the plant, by the leaf, so it's not found in the soil. Our only correct answer is mineral ions, because the soil provides the leaf with water and mineral ions. 13. Which row shows what is needed for photosynthesis? We know that carbon dioxide is needed and chlorophyll and light and oxygen is not needed for photosynthesis because it is a product of photosynthesis. So our answer is going to be A. 14. Which organ secretes hydrochloric acid? This is actually the stomach, so our answer is going to be C. 15. Which statements correctly describe the process of dental decay? Let's read the statements. Food and bacteria coat the teeth. The bacteria use the sugar in the food for respiration. The bacteria produces acids. The sugar dissolves the animal. Now we know that number 1 is correct because the first stage of dental decay starts with the food and bacteria that are coating the teeth, because the person does not brush their teeth, so the food accumulates on the teeth. So then the bacteria will come and they will use the sugar in the food for respiration. This is correct because if the person is eating a lot of sugary sweets or sugary foods, then the bacteria will use that sugar to produce aerobically in the mouth, and they will produce acids, which then the acids, not the sugar, it will dissolve the animal. So number 4 is not correct because it is not the sugar that dissolves, but it is the acids that are produced by the bacteria. They dissolve the animal. So our answer is going to be D. 16. A piece of bread begins to taste sweet when it's mixed with saliva and chewed for several minutes. Which substance in the saliva causes this change? Of course, it is the amylase, because we know that the amylase catalyzes the reaction of starch into glucose. So the bread contains starch, so when the starch is catalyzed into sugar, it's going to taste sweet. 17. The diagram shows a bean seedling soon after it has germinated. Where is the most water absorbed? Now we all know that the water is mainly absorbed from the roots, so it's going to be C over here around the root hair cells over here. 18. Which process occurs during transpiration? Let's read the statements. Over here it says evaporation of water from the xylem. Of course, this is incorrect. B. Loss of water by osmosis from the guard cells. The water is not lost by osmosis. C says the movement of water vapor through the spongy mucosal cell by active transport. This is incorrect. It moves by diffusion. D says movement of water vapor through the stomata. Now this is correct. So our answer is going to be D. 19. The diagram shows the outside of a human heart. Which structure is the coronary artery? We know that the coronary artery is the arteries provide oxygen and nutrients to the heart. So it is over here. We know that this is the coronary artery. 20. The diagram shows a section of a human vein. What is the function of the part labeled X? Now we know that X is actually a valve, and we know that the veins help to bring the blood back into the heart, and the arteries take away the blood from the heart. So our answer is going to be A, because the blood ends up flowing to the heart, and the veins' job is to get the blood flowing into the heart. 21. A species is a bacterium that can cause food poisoning. Which word describes this species? Now we know that this is actually not an antibody because it is not inside the human body. Now this is not a disease because it is not something contagious or that can be spread around from one human to another. It is actually in the food. And so this is not our answer. C is a pathogen. Now this is correct because a pathogen is a type of bad bacteria that can cause molding or can cause food poisoning. So it is actually C. Question number 22. What is the approximate percentage of oxygen in expired air? As we all know, it's 16% and 21% is in inhaled air. So our answer is going to be C. Question number 23. Which row shows processes that all use energy from respiration? Now we know that diffusion does not use any energy at all, so our answer is not going to be B or C because the diffusion does not use energy. We know that it is a passive process. Now A says that diffusion does not use energy from respiration. Cell division does use energy from respiration, so far this is correct. Osmosis does not use energy, so our answer is not going to be A because this is incorrect. Osmosis does not use energy from respiration or any energy at all. It is again a passive process, just like diffusion. So our answer is going to be D because diffusion does not use energy. Cell division does use energy. Osmosis is a passive process, so it doesn't use energy. Muscle contraction does use energy. Passage of nerve impulses, yes, that uses energy. And of course active transport. 24. What is the word equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast? We know that anaerobic respiration does not use oxygen and it produces alcohol and carbon dioxide, so our answer is going to be A. 25. Which substances are excreted from the human body? We know that carbon dioxide is excreted from our body, and urea in the form of urine, and water as well as sweat. So our answer is going to be C. 26. What is the order of structures that a nerve impulse travels through during a reflex action? Now we know that first of all, our actions always start with the receptor because this is where, for example, if you get hit on your hand, the receptor will detect those, like the feeling of getting hit. So the answer is going to be either B or D. It's not going to be A or C. Now, of course, it will pass through neurons, so it can be transported into the effector. So our answer is going to be B. 27. Which structure can reduce how much light enters the eye? Of course, we all know this is the iris, so our answer is going to be B. 28. The diagram shows a section through human skin. What are the structures labeled X, Y, and Z? Now, I can see that Y is actually a hair erector muscle because it looks like a muscle over here. We know how it looks like. And I can see that Z is actually a sweat gland over here. So I'm going to be choosing Y as a hair erector muscle and Z as a sweat gland. This is exactly B. And we know that X as well is a receptor because it is at this, near the surface of the skin over here. Okay. 29. A disease cannot be treated with antibiotics. What could be the reason for this? Number 1 says it is not a bacterial disease. Yes, this is a reason that can prevent antibiotic from working because antibiotics only treat bacterial diseases. So if it's not a bacterial disease, of course it will not treat it. 2 says the pathogen is a virus. Of course, viruses are not treated by antibiotics, they are treated by other medicines. So if it's a virus, of course it will not be treated by antibiotics. 3 says the patient has become resistant to the antibiotic. Now this is not going to be a reason that prevents a disease from being treated with antibiotics, because the patient can use another antibiotic, so in this way the disease will be treated. So our answer is going to be A. 30. Which statement explains the increased risk of having an accident after consuming excessive alcohol? Now, alcohol can be addictive. This is not a reason. B says alcohol increases self-control. This is an incorrect statement. Alcohol is actually a depressant. C says alcohol increases reaction time. This is correct. And our answer is going to be C. Well, D is not incorrect because alcohol does increase the reaction time, meaning that the person will become for example, if a person is driving, it will take longer time for them to realize, for example, if someone is passing on the street or a pedestrian is passing the street, they will not notice it as fast as a normal person. So this is called a depressant. If it decreases the reaction time, that means it is a stimulant. 31. The table shows the conditions that 4 samples of seeds were kept in. Which sample would germinate? Germination requires water and oxygen to go on because it is a respiration process, meaning that energy would be produced so that the seed can grow. 32. The diagram shows a cross-section of a flower during pollination. Which labeled structure releases the pollen and which labeled structure receives the pollen? Now over here we know that the releasing of pollen is actually from the anther, which is part of the male organs of a flower, and the stigma of the female will receive the pollen that is produced by the anther. So our answer is going to be C, because number 1 is actually indicating the anther and 2 is indicating the stigma. 33. What is a natural method of birth control? It's going to be C, monitoring cervical mucus. Mucus is always secreted during the ovulation period of a menstrual cycle. This is when the woman is most fertile. So preventing sexual intercourse during this time will help act as a birth control or prevent pregnancy. 34. Which row shows the results of a meiosis? Now we know that meiosis actually produces genetically different cells, not genetically identical, because if it's genetically identical it will be mitosis. So we're going to be choosing between A and B for now. Now there are gametes produced, yes, because meiosis we know that it is a process that is involved in the sexual reproduction. So our answer is going to be B. Question 35. In a species of plant, the allele for red flower color R capital is dominant to the allele for yellow flower color R small. What would be the flower color of the offspring of a cross between a parent with the genotype red and a parent with the genotype yellow? Now over here, to solve this question, we will have to do a Punnett square. This is done like this. You have to draw a table just like this, and you're going to be adding in each row the separate allele for each parent's genotype. Just like that. We have a parent that has red yellow flower color and another one that has yellow. So I'm going to be putting both their alleles and genotypes over here. Now I'm going to be crossing it together just like this. Now over here I have a 50% chance of getting a red flower and another 50 for yellow flower. This is because the dominant allele, which is the red flower color, is available in 2 of the genotypes that have appeared from crossing, and another 2 have the yellow flower allele. So this will give us a 50% chance, which is going to give us the answer C over here for this question. 36. What is needed for natural selection to take place? A says excess resources for the population. Now, this is not something that would cause natural selection to take place because the environment is better adapted for these organisms already. So they do not need to change themselves. B says no variation within a population. Again, this is not a cause for natural selection. C says reproduction by individuals that are better adapted to the environment than others. Now, this is something that would cause natural selection because some animals are living fine until a natural disaster would occur or a change in their living conditions occurs, so they would not survive. But other animals would survive because they are better adapted. So when these better adapted animals reproduce, they would produce more adapted organisms to the environment. So our answer is going to be C. 37. The diagram shows a woodland food web. Which organisms are secondary consumers? Now over here, we know that secondary consumers are animals that are the third on the food chain. We have first the producer, and then we have primary consumer, and then the secondary consumer. So we have to check over here the food chains and the food web. Where does it go, and what is the end of it? Now over here, the grass is a producer, and the mouse and the rabbit, they are secondary consumers. Now over here, the mouse, the stoat eats it, so this is a secondary consumer, and also the owl is a secondary consumer. So our answer is going to be D. 38. Which statement describes a population? A population, as we all know, is a group of animals of the same species living in one area. So we have to see from these examples, which example from these ones that describe what I have just said. So A says all 3-spined stickleback fish living in a lake. This is something that describes the definition of a population, so that's going to be our answer. Now, why not the other options? B and C actually don't have a specific species of animals. They're just really general, like organisms. There can be more than one species of organism, and as well for fish, there is many types of fish. So this is not one species. 39. Biological washing powders can remove stains from clothes. What must a washing powder contain to remove an oil stain from a t-shirt? Now, we all know that oil is made up of fats, and fats are made up of 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol, which can be broken down by the enzyme lipase. So our answer is going to be B. 40. The diagram shows a sewage treatment process. What is structure X? Now over here we have an air pump in it, which indicates that this is an aeration tank, which means it adds air into the water to help to clean the water further. So our answer is going to be A. Thank you for watching. This is the end of our exam. Please make sure to subscribe and like my videos in order to get more videos like this one.